And then I'll put tomatoes on this side here. Now, let me tell you something that I did last year that if you don't know about, you need to. If you're an EarthBox gardener, and I'm fixing to tell you I'm not going to put a cover on it, and you're going to tell me I'm crazy, you got to have a cover, the rain's going to wash all your fertilizer out, things like that, and I'm telling you right now, I have found a way. Last year, I planted just like I'm planting now, except I came in here and put, just like you would mound up. See, most of y'all EarthBox growers are used to making a big mound here. Okay, so I'm replanting an EarthBox. How do you replant an EarthBox? Is there anything special to it? Well, kinda. So you might want to continue watching. And I've got a couple of tricks that I'm gonna do. So anyway, I got this little shovel. My wife got me that for Christmas. It's just a little, like a survival shovel. It folds this way and that way. I love my Hori, but this is better for scooping out large amounts of dirt, which I'm gonna do on this because I just need to relieve this EarthBox from some of its soil, because when I start mixing, I don't want the soil to spill over on the landscape cloth here. I'm planting, all these EarthBoxes are sitting on landscape cloth, and I don't want to do that because when you get dirt on landscape cloth, it draws weed seeds, and that's something you don't want. So anyway, we'll take this little shovel and just break this up, and what we're going to do is re-lime it. Initially, you put a pound of lime in it. I think last year I did not put a full pound. So this year I'm going to put a pound of lime in it, mix it in. I'm going to also mix in some pelleted gypsum. Pelleted gypsum is good for loosening the soil. Of course, you're in a box here, so it's not that critical that you loosen the soil, but it's also good if you use commercial fertilizer, synthetic fertilizer, which we're going to use today. If you use that, the gypsum really helps take the salts out of the ground or the container. We're in a container. You see some of the, last year I used organic, and you see some of the fertilizer from last year that didn't break down, some of the organic fertilizer. So I'm not really that concerned about salts, but also the pelleted gypsum is going to help you with blossom end rot, and that is the bane of just about every tomato grower's existence, is blossom end rot. So let's start with the lime. I'm going to put a pound of lime. I've measured a pound is about a cup, and this is not pelleted, this is powder. It's almost like flour or something like that. And I'm going to put a pound in here, and we're going to turn that in. But before I do that, I'm going to put about a half a cup, 3/4 of a cup, about 3/4 of a cup of the pelleted gypsum. That's what this is, pelleted gypsum. I got it from Haas. And you can find the links below to all of the Haas products. Pelleted gypsum, some type of pelleted gypsum, where you get it at Haas or wherever, you really need when you're going to plant tomatoes and peppers too. Peppers can get that blossom end rot. I got that all the time on peppers. So this is going to help with that, and hopefully I won't have that big of a problem this year because I'm putting a pretty good dose of that pelleted gypsum. Also, when I plant, I'm going to put some Epsom salt in the hole. Epsom salt, you know, you read some articles and they say it absolutely does nothing for blossom end rot, and then you talk to a bunch of old gardeners that have been using it for years and they say it absolutely does help with it. So I don't know, but dadgum, if I can do something that'll help somewhat, I'm all about it. So there will be some Epsom salt in every hole that's got a mater in it. Now, I don't want to get soil on this landscape cloth for two reasons. First of all, the potting mix is just expensive now. Not too many years ago, it was like $12 a bag, 13, 14, then it went to 18, then it went to 20 something, and oh, man, it's ridiculous now. So this mode of gardening is not as inexpensive as it used to be because of the potting mix. Now we'll bring out the Hori. I've mixed in my pelleted gypsum mixed in my lime. I'm gonna take my hoary. We need a fertilizer trough, trench, groove cut in this opposite the place where we're gonna put tomatoes. Now, let me explain that. You only put 2 tomatoes in an earth box, and they will go on the opposite side of the fill tube. This is the fill tube. This is where you put the water in. So the tomatoes will go about right here and right here. If you're planting peppers or some other thing that you plant more than 2, then you would put a strip of fertilizer down the center, just like this. Cut a little trough, a little furrow, and you'll put a fertilizer row down the middle of it, plant on either side of it, plant like this. And I'll do that with peppers. I'll plant either 4 or 6 peppers in an earth box. You can grow 6. I grew 6 last year. They went absolutely stark raving mad, and we had peppers everywhere. So you can plant you can plant 6 peppers in an earth box, and you are not overcrowding them at all. In fact, that's what the earth box recommends is 6. That's where I got the idea. So this is 1 pound. I weighed out. This is 20. I was going to go all organic, and I didn't. I forgot to buy my phosphorus, my phosphate, my rock super phos, and so I don't have anything in here to put in here to raise that middle number. So I just decided I've got tons and tons. Well, not tons. I've got several hundred pounds of this 10-20-10. Get it at the feed store. So I'm just going to use it. Otherwise, if I had the phosphate, I would go back with the with 2 pounds probably of organic 543 from Haas. I've got plenty of that. I just it doesn't have the middle number that I want it to have on plants that bloom and fruit from a bloom, like tomatoes and peppers. Most everything does, not corn, but most everything else comes from a bloom. Squash and shoot, just about everything. So 1 pound of fertilizer on one side, the side with the drip hole or with the fill hole, and then I'll put tomatoes on this side here. Now, let me tell you something that I did last year that if you don't know about, you need to. If you're an earth box gardener, and I'm fixing to tell you I'm not going to put a cover on it, and you're going to tell me I'm crazy, you got to have a cover, the rain's going to wash all your fertilizer out, things like that, and I'm telling you right now, I have found a way. Last year I planted just like I'm planting now, except I came in here and put, just like you would mound up. See, most of y'all earth box growers are used to making a big mound here, a dome of soil. So what I'm fixing to tell you, it saves potting mix, which is expensive. Last year I came in here and made a mound, a top, just like I would mound up dirt. I did wood chips, wood mulch, and you say, well, the water's going to run right through them. It did not. I've got videos on that. I'll link them at the end of this video, hopefully. I remember to do that. The water, and I did experiments on that with a water hose and watch the water just roll off the side, just like a thatched roof. And that's where I kind of got the idea, thatched roof, that just sheds the water. Well, this does it too. So right now, it's flat. And you're going to say that's wrong. It's not. I'm going to come in here and mound it up after the tomatoes are planted, mound it up with wood chips. That will be my mulch on top, just like that white cover is a mulch cover. It keeps the weeds out, keeps the rain out, all that, protects from the sun, this and that, holds the moisture. The wood chips did all that for me last year. It was an exceptionally successful experiment. So going to do it. I'll never put another white cover on my earth boxes. I got a dozen or so white covers in there right now, brand new. Not going to put them on. Not going to do it. Let me show you something new I got. First time I'll use it, you'll see. It might be cool, it might be a disaster. Let's check it out. So I just bought that little auger. It's a 3-inch, 12-inch long auger. This would be perfect for planting in the ground, especially if you've got some tomatoes like this. These are red snapper from Haas, and they are tall and really need to be planted deep. They're 14 inches tall or so, need to be planted deep. So I'm gonna, I gotta be careful in the earth box that I don't go so deep that I hit that little covering in there. But this would be perfect in the ground. Bulbs, planting tomatoes deep, anything that if you want to punch a hole real quick, man, I can see that really being good. First time I've ever used it. Now you can see how clean it is. We're gonna see how it goes. I don't want to scatter all my soil out, so I'm gonna go slow because I don't want to hit the bottom of this thing. Plus, I don't want to. I think I bottomed out. We'll put the other one right about here. Again, I don't want to lose my soil, so I'm trying to be careful, trying to be slow. Very slow and methodical. Not going down any further, so I think I am on the bottom cage, or the bottom, whatever that's called down in the bottom. And that is plenty deep. I could even maybe come in here a little bit like this and put me one of these beautiful red snapper tomatoes in that hole. These are hard to come out because the roots, they really need to be. I'm just going to tear that open. I like to reuse my 6-packs, but I don't want to tear this root ball up. So I'm going to do it like that. Really nice set of roots on this thing. I'm going to go deep, and I'm going to go with just a little bit more, maybe a tablespoon of the pelleted gypsum down in the hole. I'm going to go with about a tablespoon of Epsom salt down in the hole. Now this is a 1.5 tablespoon. It's a Miracle Grow thing, so I'm not going to go quite full. So about a tablespoon of Epsom salt. Then I'm going to throw my dirt back in, pack it down nice, tight. I'm going to take these two bottom leaves off, bottom limbs off, sprouts, whatever. And let me put the other one in, then I'll show you this thing. This is going to be pretty. I believe that little auger is going to work great. But if you're in the dirt, and I will do some things in the dirt, but if you're in the dirt, that little auger might save you some problems, some effort, some work. Come on, baby, get out. Again, these are red snappers. They just have grown together down there. The roots and such have grown together. They're just hard to get out of there. I'm just trying to be very gentle. All right. A little bit of Epsom salt. And just maybe a tablespoon of the pelleted gypsum. Put a little dirt on top of it so I don't sit right on top of that. Push it down in there a little bit, and then start adding the dirt. This potting mix, it's not dirt. Everybody knows that. If you grow in EarthBoxes, you don't grow in dirt, you grow in potting mix. Pulling these bottom little leaves off, and man, get that out of the way so you can see this. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. So that's replanting the EarthBox. Fertilizer strip on one end. Again, if you're planting on both sides, you'll put your fertilizer strip down the middle. The end the fertilizer strip is on is the tube end. The fill tube end gets the fertilizer if you're doing the fertilizer strip on one side. And the plants go on the opposite side. It's got something to do with water flow. I don't understand it. The guy that invented these explained it one time. The water actually flows through here, and the fertilizer flows this way, and the dissolved, deteriorated fertilizer. There's a flow in here. I don't know. I don't understand it, but that's what he said. And he knew what he's talking about, because he built these things to withstand hurricanes in Florida that wouldn't drown out his tomato crop, which he had one year. So that's replanting and an EarthBox. These are red snappers. If you're looking for some great tomatoes, I don't know whether they're sold out yet or not, but Haas has tomato plugs. These are not those plugs. I grew these from Haas seed, so these are my tomato plants that I grew. And but they look great. I love red snapper. I love the Haasinator, which is a new tomato for me. I planted the first ones I think last year. Did a little experiment between red snapper and Haasinator. Really like both. I couldn't tell a lot of difference. Haasinator might have a little more flavor, might be a little more vigorous, maybe. But they both did excellent. So anyway, I'm gonna get out my little auger and I'm gonna go down this row, and I've got 4 more EarthBoxes of red snapper, and then I've got 5 of Haasinator's, and that'll give me 10 tomato plants. And dadgum, that's a lot of megas for 2 people. So this is replanting an EarthBox. And it's the same procedure for doing it the first time, but certainly the second time through. Mix in your lime. And if you want to do a pH test and see how much lime you need, that's probably better than what I did. I just did it. But pH test would be good also, just to see if you need any lime, if you limed last year. Now, if it's first time to grow in EarthBoxes, absolutely put a pound of lime in it. It's got to be gardening lime, not, I think you can't put hydrated lime or something. So make sure it's a garden lime that you're putting in there. Powder is better than pelleted, because that pelleted lime is going to take a little while to dissolve, and you need it to start breaking down or start raising the pH as quick as possible. So here it is, planted. Looks, I mean, great. I hope I'm not too early. It's about 3 or 4 days before Easter, and you know, I usually don't plant till after Easter, but the 2-week forecast says we're good, so I'm just hoping that they know what they're talking about. And if not, I'll come set a pot or something on top of these, and I will protect these. Or the beauty of growing in containers, especially EarthBoxes, any kind of container, but EarthBoxes are really mobile. You just back a 2-wheel dolly under this thing, pick it up, and take it wherever you want to take it. So I can take them in the barn if you're going to definitely get a hard frost or hard freeze, just some kind of freak freeze, then I can pick these up, take them in the barn overnight or whatever, as long as needed, and then bring them back, set them right down where they belong. So hadn't run my drip irrigation yet. I'll be doing that. Have a tube running through here, the main line, and then I'll come in here and feed from a tube, from a smaller tube. That'll be in another video, but right now we're just planting tomatoes, replanting an EarthBox, and I hope you got something out of this. Again, I'm gonna mound up with wood chips, wood mulch, and it works perfectly. You ought to try it. Instead of putting the white covers on it, cutting slits and, you know, all this stuff, do it just like this, and then try the mound of wood chips. It worked perfectly for me last year, and I'll link to that video. In fact, it'll be right up there right about now, that video to take a look at about how to use wood chips for a covering. It works. So I believe that's it on this. We're gone.